It's been infiltrating industries and fields all across the world.
It's been a very rapid evolution in terms of using AI and machine learning to forecast the weather.
A look at how AI could be the future for weather forecasting models.
We have to think ahead to prepare for the winter season.
We'll show you how Wildlife Images is prepping for the winter season and what new improvements are coming to the park.
Ski season is right around the corner, and we talked to ski areas in Southern Oregon and Northern California about what we can expect up on the mountains this winter.
Atmospheric rivers are common this time of year. We'll explain what it is and the threats they can pose to people in and around burn scars. Plus, when the temperatures drop this winter, the National Weather Service will be issuing new alerts to warn you and your family of dangerously cold weather. Those stories and much more coming up on the StormWatch 12 Winter Forecast.
Watching out for you. This is a Newswatch 12 special presentation, the Winter Forecast Special.
Winter is almost here, and the StormWatch 12 weather team is making sure you're prepared. Thanks for joining us for the StormWatch 12 Winter Forecast. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Hoffman. Over the next half hour, we're going to break down how current and future weather patterns will impact your winter plans. When we bring you the forecast each day, we analyze and compare multiple forecast models to make our forecasts. Now, artificial intelligence, or AI, is opening up a new frontier for these weather forecast models. Here's how.
It's been a very rapid evolution in terms of using AI and machine learning to forecast the weather.
Matt Jeglum is a research meteorologist with the National Weather Service and says numerous private companies and weather services across the globe have been experimenting with AI models. Research shows these models tend to be competitive with classic models, especially with forecasting larger scale atmospheric features like low and high pressures.
Remains to be seen kind of how well they can do at high resolution precip, so essentially say rain and snow in complex terrain in mountains. But on these general, getting the pattern of the atmosphere correct, they're as good or in some cases better than what we have already.
The classic weather forecast models are equation solvers. They take current weather conditions from the surface all the way up through the atmosphere and solve the equations that govern the atmosphere to make a forecast.
AI models don't know anything about the actual physics or equations of the atmosphere. They just simply get a training data set that tells them what has happened in the atmosphere over many, many years. And by looking at what has happened over many, many years or decades, the model itself is able to infer when a given thing is present today, something else tends to happen the next day and the day after that, without actually knowing anything about how the atmosphere works.
Jeglum says AI models can be expensive to train, but they're typically extremely inexpensive to run operationally and are immensely faster. The next horizon for AI models will be replicating high-resolution models that are critical to severe weather forecasting.
Almost certainly AI and machine learning will have a big role in improving weather forecasts over the next 3 to 5 to 10 years.
New this winter, the National Weather Service is consolidating cold weather alerts. Check out what these new alerts are, and they're going to basically consolidate cold weather warnings and wind chill warnings. So for an extreme cold warning, it can be issued when dangerously cold air temperatures or wind chill values are expected or occurring. Extreme cold watch would be issued ahead of this possibility. And then a cold weather advisory is for seasonably cold air temperatures or wind chill values that are expected or occurring. Extreme cold warnings will be more on the rare side. For Medford, it's when temperatures or wind chills down to 10 degrees above zero are forecast. For the basin, 15 degrees below zero. Cold weather advisories will be a bit more common in the winter. They'll be issued for the Rogue Valley when it's 20 degrees above zero, and then for the basin when we get down to zero, or that is in the forecast. Of course, we'll let you know whenever these are issued.
Winter is on the way, and who doesn't get excited about snow and holiday activities? This year, Discover Klamath is prepping to help people plan their wintry getaways in Klamath County. Whether it's exploring miles and miles of snowmobiling trails or spending some time in one of their many bed and breakfasts, Kim and Mia from Discover Klamath are making it easy to fill your itinerary.
So I don't know if people always think of us as an option because they sometimes go to Bend or something like that, but we have some amazing lodges, some amazing bed and breakfasts that are up that way, and resorts that I think people should really be checking out.
If you want to discover Klamath, you can head to our website for more details on where to go and what to do in Klamath County this winter.
A new water year begun at the start of October, and it's been a pretty good start so far. Here's a look at the numbers so far in November. As of November 25th, over 4 inches of rain in Medford, over 9 inches in North Bend, and over 8 inches in Mount Shasta for precipitation. Looking good to start this water year. Everybody is seeing above average precipitation amounts, including in Klamath Falls. The drought monitor, we do have still some moderate drought in Klamath and Lake County, but this doesn't account for last week's atmospheric river, so we're likely going to continue to see some improvements in the weeks ahead. You can see we're looking pretty good after some pretty widespread severe drought that we had earlier in the fall. We see these every winter, but what exactly are they? Atmospheric rivers. Well, they're actually kind of similar to an actual river, but the atmospheric river is a large, narrow, continuous band of moisture that's up in the sky, and a lot of times this is tropical moisture that gets basically brought up into southern Oregon and northern California, and these giant bands of water vapor, on average 200 to 400 miles wide, they push inland, and as they do so, that moisture gets forced up mountain ranges like the coastal mountains and the Cascades, and as that moisture moves up, it cools, condenses, producing rain, and if cold enough, snow, and sometimes these can produce some very significant precipitation amounts like what we saw last week. Depending on the duration and the intensity of the atmospheric river, they produce very heavy snow, flooding, and mudslides, and especially susceptible to these atmospheric rivers are burn scar areas.
All summer long, we kept you prepared and fire aware. Now that we switched over into wetter winter months, areas affected by wildfires face a new concern: burn scars.
Sometimes you'll see areas where it was a beneficial burn, like it just kind of cleared out the garbage in there, like just all the downed branches or downed trees. So now it's much healthier forest. Other times it's pretty devastating.
After fire season ends and rainy season begins, for some of us, fires become an afterthought. Depending on how hot the fire was, winter weather can create new problems for fire scars. Spencer Higginson, a service hydrologist, has worked closely with burn scars.
The real issue comes when you lose a lot of vegetation and when it has burned so hot that it damages the soil, because then you're losing your ability to absorb water.
It's been a historical fire season in both Oregon and Northern California.
The good news in our area is we don't have a lot of debris flows.
Each fire leaves behind a different burn scar, requiring different recovery efforts and monitoring.
The McKinney, and that's in Siskiyou County, just west of Wairika, they're still having debris flows from that one.
The National Weather Service sets up weather stations near these severe areas. Hydrologists like Spencer are able to gather crucial forecasting data.
Lives and property are critical. When we see rainfall coming towards a burn scar, we're looking closely at it, and we have these thresholds in place. If it gets to that threshold, we're issuing a flash flood watch or warning.
3, 2, 1, away it goes.
In the past, Newswatch 12 has talked about the Fire and Ice program, when firefighters in the summer turn to ODOT's maintenance workers in the winter. I got the chance to talk with someone who understands the importance of working with both weather extremes. Southern Oregon is known for its snowy mountains in the winter and burning conditions in the summer. That's why Oregon's Department of Forestry and Transportation have the Fire and Ice program.
It's a really good program for the state. It's good to keep everybody busy and keep everybody safe.
Seasonal positions are challenging for workers who are employed for half the year. That's why Mitchell Fuller joined the
Fire and Ice Cooperative is really nice for that, because you get people that have permanent full-time employment, and you keep that knowledge and experience for what is essentially 2 seasonal jobs, plowing snow in the winter and fighting fire in the summer.
Fuller started fighting fires in 2010, then picked up another skill to fill his winters.
Fire's kind of always been my favorite.
But when it's snowing,
it's very challenging at times, and it's fun to be out here.
The program keeps seasoned people employed who know the ins and outs of keeping people safe.
And the cooperative between the two, it does really well for both sides, in my opinion, because you get a lot of that knowledge and experience that, like you said, with a seasonal position, a lot of times you lose folks to wanting a full-time job doing something else.
A wind gust of over 145 miles per hour was recorded back in 1962 during the Columbus Day storm, and after several years, this spot along the Curry County coast, infamous for its wind, is clocking gust again. We'll tell you all about it.
Our mountains have seen plenty of snow already, and folks are itching to hit the slopes. We'll preview the ski season from Mount Ashland, Mount Shasta, and Warner Canyon coming up. But first, it's time for some trivia. How much snow fell during Mount Ashland's snowiest winter? A, 500 inches, B, 378 inches, C, 426 inches, or D, 472 inches? I'll have the answer when we return.